Oh God, does social media fame translate to ticket sales? Absolutely not. My name is Sandra Chesaina. I am a music executive from the 254. I have worked and represented some of the most incredibly talented humans on the freaking planet. And this is Quick Ones. Clearly, the vibes are vibing is the moral of this story. So today we're on Quick Ones. My name is Sandra Bertonjo. I actually don't know how to define what I do. I'm just going to say I'm an entertainment industry plug when it comes to music artists from the 254 in the Greater Africa. And yeah, we're just here to build on the entertainment industry and fix the ongoing wahalas and improve on already what's working. Pretty much it. Is African music really global? Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, when we think of the genesis of most of the biggest genres, from hip hop to rock and roll to pop, etc., that was all music that ideally started from the black communities. And the black communities within America, which was obviously, the first world country that sort of started to embark on pushing the music agenda, that was from slaves. You know what I mean? And where were the slaves coming from? From this continent. It just took us a while to remind ourselves that we were the foundation of most of the genres in the music everywhere. But even right now, if we think about it practically, there's no sound right now as of 2026 and starting obviously from last year that has no influence of something from Africa, whether it's from the videos to the producers to instruments to vocalists. Shout out to Zinnia Manasseh, who just was nominated for a Grammy on being on Tiana Taylor's album. So yeah, that just tells you everything, guys. We have already broken the barrier. They're just in denial. Did I study music? Absolutely not. I actually studied international relations with a double degree in media and literature. And I was an accountant for like the longest time, until one very drunken night, I ran into a random white guy. I thought we were vibing, but he was actually interviewing me post like 20 mojitos. And the next week he called me and said, pull up. I need to, let's discuss what we were discussing last night. I have no memory of what we had been discussing. Showed up, he ran me through my own conversation. And yeah, that's how I started working from Dundo, which was ideally the first streaming and downloading app within the 254. Before all of your Spotifys and Boomplays and etc., it was Mdundo. And so I got into Mdundo from there, resigned from my accounting job, and I've not looked back since. What does a day of a music executive look like? Yo, it's the ghetto. Like, it's a very exciting ghetto experience because there's no sleep. Like, I can easily say there's no time, like there's no working hours. It's 24/7 because you'll get some artists who are calling you at 3 a.m. because all of a sudden he's, feeling like the vibes in the studio are not vibing. And so he needs some inspiration. Then there's the ones who, will execute, but now will be in fear of what the product is or what the song sounds like. And they need you to listen to it 100 times. And they want to explain to you, the trumpet on at minute 1.3 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Then now we get into the rollout, sort of the releasing of a song. The legwork and the work it takes to get you folks to listen to the music is a lot. There's a lot that happens months prior. There's a lot that happens months too. There's fighting with your artists and getting them to get out of their comfort zones. As you guys have seen, we have a whole BN now dancing to TikTok. That tells you everything you need to know about the amount of work that goes into it, because you're also now fighting someone's personality and their core and making them do very uncomfortable things under the promise that you're going to be successful and your music needs to, we need this to push your music. You can't just release a song and think it's going to do great. So it's hectic, but I absolutely love it. I wouldn't do anything else in this lifetime. Do executives decide who blows up? Okay, this is controversial because it's a yes and no. Okay, if we look at it like in the instance with record labels, like, let's say, let me give you an example, a practical example that's ongoing right now in an African space. If you look at Marvin Records, the artists that they're actively pushing are your Ira Star, Rema. But under Marvin Records, you've got Johnny Drill, you've got Bayani, you've got Crayon, Ladipo, but they're not getting the same amount when it comes to marketing budgets to push their songs. So in that instance, especially for record labels, they do assign on a yearly basis, if not 2 to 3 year basis, which of the artists under their label they are actively pushing and promoting into the market. Now, for the situations where it's not about the record label, that still does happen because there's also preference. We don't like to admit that there's personal issues that also come into play. So if you had a disagreement with an artist 3-4 years ago, as much as the music is great, there's some people who do take whatever transpired years ago and will actively not want to push that agenda. And then unfortunately, especially with Kenya, it happens everywhere in the world, but I'll speak on my first-hand experience, in this market because this is where I work. Even the gatekeeping, there's still the mentality of, you want me to put you on radio, you want me to, post about your song, you want me to playlist you on the different platforms, pay me a certain amount of money, give me access to this and that. And so those are the kind of things we're trying to fight. Most of the executives right now, we're trying to fight. And so for anybody who's interested in being a music executive and being in that space, please come in with your moral compass intact, be ethical and have integrity, because we need you. We need more executives in this space who are doing the right thing and care about the creative industry and want to build and help artists get to the next level and not harm them in any way. Yes. So come join us. Do artists make it because of talent or access? This is a setup. This is an immediate setup. A bit of both. I'm going to say a bit of both, because in order to, even you can have access, and I'm not going to name any artists, but we do have artists here in Kenya who have all the access with the relevant music executives, platforms, venues, but they still haven't been able to crack into the space. And that's not to say that they're not talented, they're just not as talented. So it can work in one of two ways, because you can pump money and become super popular and you're everywhere and you're getting gigs and blah, blah, blah out of popularity. But popularity doesn't always reflect greatness. And when you're chasing popularity, in my opinion, greatness suffers. So for example, in my opinion, there'll never be another artist that will sing Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing the way she did. That's a given, because that was literal music greatness. There'll never be another group that will sing Susanna the way Sauti Sol sang Susanna. You can all try and mimic, it will never happen. But there will be equally as great talent out there. And right now, with where the industry is and what we're advocating for, is that raw, pure, amazing talent, and we're celebrating that. So we're starting to slowly move away from the gimmicks, the hype, the popularity, the people who are just giving money to promote their stuff. If the talent is not there in the standards and the level we aspire and want it to be at, we're paying attention, but not that deeply. And we're celebrating, but not celebrating that deeply. What do music executives actually control? This is going to look, let me tell you, for all my clients, please, still pay me, just pay me. It may look like I do a lot of nothing based on my answer to this, but just pay me. Basically, our key role and objective is to help the artist structure how the business side of their music and their talent then helps them commercialize it. And the bottom line is, how are you going to be able to pay your bills, look after your family, expand your craft and develop your craft based off of your existing craft. So we want creatives to just be creative. Just think of the lyrics, how you want to arrange the instruments, spend your time in studio. My job is to then get what you're putting out there that's fantastic. How am I getting everybody to listen to what you're putting out there, and how are we then converting that in a way that, one, benefits you on a financial level, benefits you on a personal level, because obviously if you're putting out amazing stuff and the response is you're an amazing artist, your music changed my life, that's really positive. That's a positive thing for the talent. So that's ideally my job. My job is to get what you're putting out there, and how am I getting it to the masses to benefit you, and obviously myself, because I'm not doing it for free, but you get what I mean. How much influence do I have on an artist's success? I mean, okay, let me give you guys a story. In I think it was 2020. I think it was 2020, if not 2021. I was roped into a situation that was ongoing, where there was an artist coming into Kenya, and whoever was supposed to ideally be handling them in this country had failed epically. And so somebody got my number from somebody somewhere, and they just called and they're like, please, Sandra, we just need you to go to the airport right now. We need you to go and receive this artist. We don't know what has happened with the original promoter, blah, blah, blah. I had never heard of this artist at the time or anything of the sort. So I get to the airport, receive this person with their manager, and, go and check them into some Airbnb and try and understand, okay, guys, what was the original plan? So as we're having this conversation, I'm like, okay. Turns out it was Oxlade. So I was like, fantastic. So I started to listen to the music, and I was backtracking because I'd not heard of his music before. And this was just when they had released Kulosa. So we're in the middle of just COVID situations. There's this artist. So I really started to fall in love with the music that he had released before. And there's a particular song called Ojuju. So I kept telling him, listen, my guy, forget this Kulosa thing you're trying to come and promo here. Let's focus. Let's redo this one. And he was like, nah, sis, that song is like 5 years old. I am not about to spend the budget I've been given with my label to promote a 5-year-old song. Like, are you crazy? So I was like, okay, say less. Let's ngangana with this song, Basi. So we just, started doing the media stuff, got a couple of gigs done. We did a mini writing camp, got Sauti in there. At the time, Soul Natives were in town from South Africa. We had Camera, who's the producer behind How We Roll with Chris Brown and Ciara. So all those guys were already in Kenya and were already doing other things. So I just roped him into that mix. We did a couple of showcases, including his very own at Kiza at the time. Fast forward, I think it was easily 3 months later, Kulosa was what Kulosa you guys know now. It had blown up beyond understanding and measure. It was the #1 song here in the Greater East Africa, I think, for almost 6 months straight. Every girl, every guy thought they could sing the vocals in the same way. Clearly could not, but alas. And that song became what it was. And we've been great friends ever since. I talk to him almost like once a week, if not every 2 weeks. Because he always says that what we did within that time and the push we made is why and how that song came to be what it was. And he did a whole 2-year tour just off of that song. So yeah, we can really determine the success of an artist when we choose to and when we believe in the project and like the artist, because there's 2 very different ways of doing it. You can just do it because, listen, rent is due. I'll make the calls, but if I'm not passionate about it, if I'm not committed and I don't believe in that artist and that song and that music or that album or EP, I feel like we influence whether it's going to actually be on the success level it needs to be at or not. What's the risk of bringing international headliners to Kenya? Listen, considering what just happened in December, this question is, whoa. The biggest risk is it takes away from the value of our artists who I believe should be headliners in themselves. Let me explain why. One, you pay your $3-4 million to whichever artist it is. All that money goes outside of Kenya, #1. So it's not coming back to the creative economy within the 254. So that's, problem #1. Problem #2, this headlining artist will give you their rate card and that's their rate card. And when the local artists or the Kenyan artist that you want to add on to your show comes and presents a rate card, the automatic response, and this has happened a lot, is no, bro, that's too high. But when the international artist sent their rate card and said, this is what I'm charging, there was no room for negotiation because there's no familiarity with that talent. But because this guy is your fellow Kenyan, there is this notion and level of entitlement that people then have, oh, but why are you charging so much? You know, why? And if you go down to the nitty-gritties and look at the accolades of your local talent in comparison to the international artists you brought, they don't even compare. But because you know this guy lives, you know, me, I live in West, he lives on Gong Road, how can he be charging me X amount? Your instinct is to want to negotiate and to fight it. And then it starts to almost downplay the value of our artists, making it even harder internationally for them to get booked as per their rate card fees. So those for me are the two biggest problems. But on the other hand, I still strongly believe that bringing international artists into our markets to perform, they shouldn't necessarily be headlining artists, but them coming here amplifies the audience experience when they attend the shows, because most people are not going to be able to afford to fly out and see other artists that they love that are not necessarily Kenyan. So you bringing them is bringing customer experience that's unmatched, and that should never be the compromise as we're having these back and forth conversations between who should headline shows and who shouldn't. Yo, a sold out shows really sold out. Okay, I'm just gonna speak on the ones that I know of. Yes, I am aware though, for certain, that there's certain shows that say they're sold out, lakini ukifika kwa ground you're wondering, hold on, if this is a venue of 7K people and you've said you've sold out 7K, why are we not having 7K people on ground? You can't tell me that somebody who paid 8,000 or 12,000 for VIP or whatever for their ticket just casually decided they're not attending the show anymore and they'd rather just stay home and get some KFC. I am not believing it. So for the shows that I am fully aware, when they say it's sold out, ukifika kwa ground you will see. Prime example, go to any Soul Fest. I can promise you, my guy, on ground, you wanted to see what 17,000 people plus looks like? Go to Soul Fest. You will see them. You will try and count and you can't even do it. So they're there, but then they're the ones that are not. Tunawajua, tutawataja. Yeah. Is it true that music executives tend to be out in concerts all the time? Okay, so yes and no. Yes and no. I'll speak for myself. I don't know about the others. Now, in the last, I guess, let's say 2-3 years, the influx of my favorite artists or Kenyan artists specifically doing their own shows has increased, and it's fantastic because that's another revenue channel for them, and it's also the first-hand way for them to reach and be around their fans and also get to fans and audiences that they'd never tapped into before. But you can't attend all. Just this weekend alone, as Valentine's weekend, Savara, Kodong, Mutoria, Keithen, I think Jerai as well. There's about 7 or 8 shows with Kenyan artists. Now, let me tell you guys, me, I'm old, I am about to clock 40 next year. Can't do it. Cannot attend 8 concerts this weekend. So it's either I'm not gonna go for any but document and share and get guys to buy tickets for all, and or I'll attend the one and celebrate everybody else. We do get the invitations because people want you to come and sort of experience new things that they're doing when it comes to performances and how they are showcasing their music differently other than just, singing into a microphone or backtrack. But you can't attend all. You might want to, but you cannot attend all. For those who do, your knees are clearly make the stallion level. You got this. Is the industry gate kept? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll share a personal experience for me. I had an artist that had come, that we were doing a tour for in Kenya. And naturally for me, because it's very rare for artists to self-fund their own tours. And so my immediate assumption was, as a country, we're all going to show up, support, buy tickets, celebrate, and just beyond this, because this is unheard of, you know. The music is great, but this is unheard of in terms of them coming and just, you know, being everywhere in the 254 in that capacity. And I remember reaching out to an OG executive, and because they work for a really huge corporate, and I said, hey, you guys, instead of doing your kawaida end of year parties where you're going to spend, you know, your 3-4 million, blah, 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 how about buy tickets for this show as the end of year event? We'll give you guys like a corporate experience, you know, food, blah, 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 the usual stuff you need for your end of year parties. So why not do it? This person is not only a music, they work yes in corporate Kenya, but they primarily have been in the music industry as a music executive for decades. And their immediate question to me was, unanipatia ngapi? So at first I was like, haha, it's banter. Until I realized they were actually being serious. They were actually expecting us to pay them to get their company to buy tickets to attend this show. Now guys, I don't know about you, but there's just some things at some point we have to just start fighting back and saying no to, this being one of them. That immediate knee-jerk reaction to just see this as an opportunity for you to make money and to be bribed to do what, in my opinion, is the right thing to have done regardless. Shame on you. But yes, the gatekeeping is real. We're trying to fight it. We shall get there. I promise we shall get there and we shall overcome. What's the most common delusion upcoming artists have? That you're going to be an overnight success purely because you know people in the industry and fellow artists. Friend, And I say this all the time on my page. Please, you can have a banger and you and your squad are sitting in the studio and you're like, Maze, is song nile song. And it might be a banger. You might know every DJ. You might know every club owner. You might know every artist and their manager in the 254. But the likelihood of you being an overnight success, you released the song on Friday and you're assuming by Wednesday you will be the biggest artist trending in the 254 and beyond. My guy, please, 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 the same way it took you time to build towards that song, the effort, the hours, the time, please understand that is equally, if not quadruple the amount of time it's going to take for the level of success to hit. And once it does, don't use that one moment of you going viral and think that's going to sustain you for the rest of your career. It will not. We have seen them come. We have seen them go. We have seen them retry to come back. Please, always think long term. It should be a minimum of 5-year planning to 10. That short-term goal you're having and chase, yeah, it'll backfire expeditiously. A writing comes about creativity or strategy. Both, absolutely both. Because one, obviously it's creativity, because, you know, especially when you're, you know, it's easier, I always say this, it's easier for groups to do writing camps because already you're a group, so you're bouncing off your ideas with each other, you're sharing, etc. But for individual artists, it's usually harder because what you think is amazing, somebody might come and tell you, hey, my guy, this will not gonna work, you know, nobody's gonna listen to this kind of content, you know, these lyrics don't make sense, etc., etc. So it's crucial for that in terms of the creativity process. But where the strategy comes in is if you pay attention to when artists do writing camps, they're very strategic about the kind of artists, which other fellow artists they bring on board to those writing camps, with what producers they spend time with in the writing camps, they even in terms of the songwriters, instrumentalists that they then bring on. if you pay attention, that starts to tell you, you can automatically almost tell what projects are gonna sound like, or what the direction of a project is going to be, based on the content you'll see of who they've had within the writing camps. And that's all strategy. That's all strategy, because you're literally planning towards where the new, what the wave of the market is, what your fan base is interested in, what your bigger target audience is consuming and want to listen to. Yeah, it's definitely a mix of both. You have to have the creativity, and the strategy is definitely there. And if you don't have the strategy, you need to just reevaluate your entire management team, because why are you just shacked up for 4-5 days and there's no strategy? Seriously speaking, that's crazy. That would be crazy if there's no strategy. But yes, yeah, it's both. Are African artists still underpaid? Guys, this is a very that's a very crazy question. You know why? Because in my opinion, majority 100%. Now, why I'm saying majority and not all is because obviously we know there's the artists who are killing it, and they understood the maths ahead of time. And why I'm saying that, and I'm going to be very, sorry to the guys in the room for this statement, but if you pay attention to the artists who are female management, and you look at the projection of their success, tells you everything you need to know. Because there's a way women in general, are very much focused on long-term strategy and planning. And long-term strategy and planning and sustainability. So if you look at when Wizkid started, even by the time Jada was coming on board, epic success story, but he had not reached the pinnacles he's at now. And within 8 years, the difference, once the main management changed to female, tells you everything. Look at the level of Burna Boy. Look at our very own BN. Look at our very own Njerai. Look at Kodong as a group. For me, that just tells me everything I need to know. So one, what, your boy is your boy, it's cool, but just get a female in the team somewhere in that mix, because a lot of things will change, because the way women are wired to think through what success looks like, what sustainability looks like, and what long-term achievements look like is very different from how men will do it. So get you some females on your team, because even what you're going to be paid will change drastically once you have a female in the team. Now, I'm not saying the men don't know how to be, gangster and pull it off, but there's a way women do their gangster that's very different from how men do it. That traditional one of kutoa bazooka na mnashoot kila mahali mkishout, it's not working for the music industry. So get you some females in your team if you want to be successful and to be paid your worth as an artist. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I mean, you can hire me as well, thanks. How do executives really make money? I mean, it's pretty straight. Okay, for me, it's pretty straightforward. You onboard me for a project in terms of the rollout. There's a fee, obviously, because there's certain things you have to pay for. So I'll just charge you a consultancy fee straight off the bat, and then we do the work. I'll present for you the proposal and the outlines and the full-on rollout strategy, and you just pay me my fee, and I get the work done. Or alternatively, if it's around bookings, there's a percentage that we then take from whatever the booking fee will be. Now that's for us to negotiate with each other. I think the standard industry rate is at 10%. Any brand deals, etc., that I bring on board to you as an artist, the same thing. There's a percentage fee, and or should we then agree that you're just going to give me a flat fee and that's it, sawa. That's also doable. Yeah, I mean, it should be that straightforward. Now, I'm not going to lie, there is those proposals of let's do it as a partnership. Listen, guys, the music executive and the artist, those are two separate things. And I've had managers approach me and sort of be like, let's do it as a partnership. So when the money comes in, we split it. Now, I can't get involved with your publishing and your publishing rights. So you can't add me as part of the people who are earning when you're streaming or there's downloads, when you're getting YouTube views. I can't be included in that because I contributed nothing to the song. I didn't write a lyric. I didn't press a button where there was drums playing. I didn't do none of that. So I know there's some executives who then are willing to take those kind of deals. I don't think it's sensible because if I didn't contribute to the song in any capacity, I have no leverage to earn any publishing. So yeah, I just don't be doing those kind of deals because what? It's not making sense. Have I ever walked away from a good deal because it didn't align? So right off the bat, let me tell you, if I have to walk away, that's not a good deal. Automatically. And I think it's because, I don't know whether this is just, the influence of Ruto. It has made everybody just primarily focus on the money. And there was a time that was what I did, because even when I opened my company and started working for myself as a single parent, there were some days I was like, listen, I'm willing to not charge my actual rate card, but it's because I need X amount to do this and this and this and this. There was a time that happened. But I had a very intense conversation sometime towards the end of last year with a fellow music executive in the industry who I admire and is like a mentor to me. And she said something quite profound. She said, it's one thing to actively say you are helping build the industry, you're contributing positively, you want to see artists win and creatives win within the African space. It's another thing to agree to deals where they're either deceiving the artist one way or the other, or they're taking away from talent or creative, and you're complacent to that. The money may not be coming directly to you or the benefit, but the fact that you're complacent to the information means you're still part of the problem. And when she said it that way, I had to take a second and ask myself, hold on, because there has been situations where somebody will call them like, okay, so this is the artist I'm working with, blah, 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 Sandra, cool. The budget they have is X amount. Lakini me, I'm going to quote, 800K. Then we'll give them their 500, me and you split the 300. Now, you see, for me, you guys, that's a problem, because if that's a conversation that already involves the artist, the dynamics are very different. But once it feels like you're making me use my relationships and my network to downplay and sort of influence talent to reduce their prices or do extra just because of my relationships that you can benefit, especially on a financial level, yeah, I'm good. Like, I want no parts in it, because I now have a moral and ethical obligation to stand by the things I say I stand for. I have to match it, and I'm holding myself to a much higher standard. And I made a post about this, which is very interesting, at the start of this year. I've already lost a couple of deals, but I'm okay because I'm sleeping so much better at night. So I'm good. I'm all right. How do I unwind when I'm responsible for more than 1,000 people at the show? So for those who know me, Black Ice. It is me and my smell of Black Ice. If you ever see me anywhere, especially outside, I'm always with my earphones. This is not to say that the DJs are terrible or whatever music is playing is whack. In the likelihood that it is, I will tell you myself and then really proceed to put on my earphones and listen to my jams. But the way I unwind is literally that. I like going to non-pressure clubs. And I'm saying non-pressure because I don't want that chaos of bottle girls, oblays playing loudly. We have to stand on chairs and tables. Like, can I just go sit somewhere where the chair is super comfortable? I can drink my Black Ice in plenty. There's access to the toilet. And when I need to, I can just put on my earphones and listen to some Backstreet Boys or Britney Spears, because shout out to, my millennial community. But yeah, that's literally it. Or eating fried chicken, watching Big Bang Theory in my bed. Pretty basic. Have I ever had a panic moment before a show? Wow, you guys. Okay, so there's been like two major ones. So we were there's an event called Barbecue Live that I was a part of with some 3 incredible gentlemen. And you see, they got a girl on the team and we were kicking butt. That tells you, see what I was saying earlier? And we were bringing Wizkid for the first time to Kenya. This is 2016. 2016, yeah. And, gosh. So I don't know what he ate in the hotel. I don't know. This is show day. So packed. KCC is packed beyond understanding. I'm in charge of the artist, so it's now for me to go upstairs, get him downstairs into the car. We need to head to the venue. Hey, I get to the floor because we had blocked out the entire floor for them. Ran into the manager, one incredible guy called Sunday Ari. Sunday is like, yo, listen, we can't leave now. I'm like, sorry, this is like going to like midnight, huh? It's like, we can't leave now. I'm like, what do you mean we can't leave? Like, you're here for a show, we need to go. And he's like, yeah, he's not feeling well. I don't know what was in the food that we ate earlier, but he's not well. Guys, let me tell you, I just started sweating. So I'm calling my guys on ground to be like, you guys, listen, there's a situation. They're like, Sandra, we don't care what's happening. We need the artist here in the next 30 minutes. You need to figure it out. So imagine at midnight in 2016, I don't even think we had that, like right now how everywhere there's like 24-hour chemists. We didn't have those. Like in the frequency, we have them like in every corner right now. Imagine me having to drive to Gertrude's on Othaya Road to go and purchase Imodium, etc., etc. And some of these, I think at the time the doctor was like, no, this needs to be prescribed. We need to see the patient to see if that's actually the problem. Here I'm having pressure from my partners. This guy needs to get on stage. Guys, let me tell you, it was the longest 1 hour of my life. And I think it's because when I got back to the hotel and I'm standing at the door with 7 types of painkillers, like 14 packets of Imodium, Lucozade, like I looked like a nutcase. Wizkid literally looked at me like, my guy, I can see just from whatever, I'm sweating profusely at this time. I think he just looked at me and he just said, yo, the way you have nganganad to make sure I am okay. You know what? Let's just go for this. Let me just measure that. Let's just go for the show and kill it. And he wound up performing for 4 hours. It started to rain. He still performed in the rain for another hour and a half. And I remember even after the show, like one of the things he was saying was, you guys have treated me so much like family and you've looked after us so deeply that there was no way I was going to half-ass it. I was like, let me just, and the vibes have been amazing. So so that was one. I think that was my first legitimate panic attack in life. The next one, I think I was 8 months pregnant. And I think I don't know what, I can't remember what on earth the event was. I don't understand. I can't remember the specific name of the event. But we're all backstage. And then somebody said that almost like 30 thugs have broken through the gate and ideally are coming, to come and like rob guys and steal phones, etc., etc. Guys, wallahi, high key, I think my baby decided even that moment is when she wants to come out, because the immediate fear I had, because I was like, 30 thugs, now the event is going to be a mess. People are going to panic. There's going to be running around. And we're in Ngong Race Course at the waterfront. And literally, I thought my water broke, but it turns out I just peed on myself out of fear. So yeah, I've had some top tier panic attacks. And those are the ones that are coming to mind like immediately. But yeah, that happened. Yo, this event, this event life, wait, please. What's the mental cost of running high stake events? Hey guys, it's a lot. It's a lot. Now, when we started, I guess because, and I don't know, I think this is just historically an African way of dealing with things. When we get overwhelmed and overstimulated and pressured, it's very much in our culture to just be like, nimetoka tu, I'll go and sleep it off, or we're just gonna push through because this is the hustle. That's always historically been how we deal with things. Obviously, now that we came to understand and became advocates and aware of what the mental health crisis looks like, how it presents itself, the triggers. When I think back to a lot of the different events I've done and I've been a part of, we were actually like having legitimate like mental breakdowns at some point. There was definitely like levels of depression once automatically your event has gone to a loss. The pressures of having to deal with artist egos, demands, sponsors and partners pulling out last minute, and now you have to raise monies to cover certain costs, pressure from suppliers. That's a lot. And because we didn't have like pre-training of what it's going to take, a lot of mistakes were made, and a lot of those mistakes had very dire consequences onto us as the organizers, because we didn't have we didn't have anywhere to share or communicate with. Obviously that has changed, as of right now. The way we approach events, the way we approach situations, the way we approach crises is very different from what we were doing 10 years ago, whatever the case may be. But if you don't plan mentally for crises, friend, you are going to actually get into, you will literally have a mental breakdown, because there's no way one person can handle that amount of stress and pressure and think they're going to get out on the other side okay. That's just for sure. Have I ever considered leaving the industry entirely? Yeah, like probably like 3 to 4 times a week. I'm like, actually, I can just go back to formal employment, can get back into my accounting life and just be chilled, where I can come home at sensible hours when it's still, the sun is still out. I don't have to have crisis phone calls at 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, of people in full-blown panic from random places in the world. I don't have to receive diabolical emails of people crashing out on official emails, dealing with, managing or like coordinating different people at any given moment. And then I see moments like us doing BN's East African tour and the success of that and the impact it had and the positive wowness it brought, not only to his brand and his artistry, but even for the people we met in the different places we went to. And I'm like, yeah, me quitting isn't really an option. Sounds great to say it, to be dramatic, but yeah, the likelihood of that happening, guys, anytime soon is slim to none. I might quit if my child says she wants to be a musician. Then now, friend, I'm out. I'm like, nope, I'm not dealing with this on that deep of a personal level. No. But for now, yeah, we're in it to win it. We are in it to freaking win it. What's the most outrageous artist request I've handled? I'm not gonna name the artist because I don't know wahala and issues. But guys, I wound up in the span of 3 days. I actively had to go and purchase about 80 condoms because of the shenanigans the artist was up to in the hotel room. There was one who even quammered in his room and said she has a video licking his toes, and if she's not paid $5,000, she will be posting that video the day of the show. And so, yeah, that is absolutely not in my job description. But yeah, the chemist at Yaya at the time was quite flabbergasted every time I'd come back and I'm buying boxes. And he's just looking at me like, girl, are you like a madam? Are you running like a house of... I didn't even know how to begin to explain what's going on. But guys, hey, wasanii mtanionyesha vitu mingi sana in this life. A lot of things. So yeah, that happened. What's something about the industry that the public would not believe? About the industry? Oh, I don't know. About the industry. That people don't like each other. Yeah, people don't like each other. It's one, like, you'll see guys smiling, posting each other, hugs, hey babe, some of them, hesh, the usual lines. But guys, when you meet these people, and are just having casual conversation, people don't actually like each other at all. And some managers really are in genuine competition with their artists, and for the fame specifically. Not that they can deliver in terms of the music, but industry wise, they're in competition for the fame. So when you're booking artists and working with artists, the demands the managers have for themselves on a personal level will also shock you quite a bit, because you really have to ask yourself, guy, is it you who's the artist, or is that person the artist? Because what are you asking me for? Yeah, so there's just a lot of like fake smiles and competition for people who are supposed to be gang. The biggest myth about the African music industry, that we don't have, we're not on one celebrity level, because I would like to know, and I would like to state that we very much are so, and that our artists don't write their music. They really do. It's very strange, but I feel like, especially, okay, I'm just gonna, for some of the artists that I've worked with historically, I always like to say that if these guys were not the actual artists who are performing their songs, they would be the biggest and most influential songwriters on the planet. Easily. Oh God, does social media fame translate to ticket sales? Absolutely not, guys. And this, mind you, applies across the board when it comes to deliverables with creatives. Because we've sat in rooms where somebody has said, no, we need to get this person. They've got like 1.3 million followers for a brand like activation. Then I asked them, I'm like, okay, guys, so your justification for paying this person for this campaign, as opposed to somebody I think will do better, is because they've got this X number of followers. So are you telling me that when they post about this product of yours, by the time the campaign ends in that month or 2 weeks or whatever, are you trying to tell me that you will have sold 1.7 million items of whatever it is they're pushing? Absolutely not. From their followers, that is, not in the general scale of things. Same thing with artists. It's amazing that you've got X number of followers. That's fantastic, and kudos to you. But converting the person who sits and puts earphones or plays your music in their house to go and get on Ticket Sasa, Hustle Sasa, whatever the case may be, and purchase a ticket, and on the day, or even on the day of, request a cab to wherever the venue of the event is, buy a ticket on ground. That conversion is where the miss happens, because that rarely happens. They're following you for the music. They're not following you for the event. So how do you as the artist, how do you as the talent convert and convince that person who's already consuming your content to then go and purchase tickets? That's the challenge, and that's the fix we are requiring now of content creators and creatives as a whole, from artists to your TikTokers to like across the board. We need you guys to now convert, for guys to be able to, one, buy the product and or buy the tickets, please. So as you're pitching yourself, that thing of listing for us your numbers, the way it's going, doesn't matter anymore. Absolutely doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So just do better is the moral of the story. Think through what you're coming to pitch. Think through it. Is the industry as glamorous as Instagram portrays? Actually, it really is, because But you know what? Maybe I might be the wrong person for this question because I'm just a fangirl in general. Like if it's an artist that I already love, I will be having butterflies in my belly. This could be the 100th show of theirs I've seen that year. But the minute they walk out backstage and they're getting on the stage, I will literally have butterflies and I'll be excited and I'll want to scream and everything is just amazing to me. But it actually is. Because I think there's something quite epic about being in rooms and in spaces of the people who influenced and who influence key moments in your life, because that's what music does. Yeah, that's what artists do. You know, when you think of your favorite artists and the journeys they've taken you through with their music, there's always a personal connection. There's something you went through, there's something you felt, there's somebody you were dating, there's a key moment in your life where that's what that song reminds you of. That's where that element of like nostalgia comes from. And so once that connection can now be met on a physical level by interacting in different spaces, by having access to places in concerts that the general public doesn't have, yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Like me, yes, I want to be back. Like, yes, guys, it's freaking glamorous. Get on it. But I think with the glamour, obviously comes with the pressure of maintaining that. And we can see right now, I mean, just as recently with Justin Bieber's performance at the Grammys, you know, getting on there with his boxers. A lot of people are like, what the hell? But in my opinion, that was him basically saying, guys, you have demanded everything from me. I am showing up stripped down. I've got nothing else to give. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, a consequence of the pressures we now apply to ideally celebrities and artists. You know, like you must show up every time perfect. You must show up looking, you know, dressed to the tens. You know, you must show up. You can't be pararad on your elbow. Otherwise, that becomes a news headline, you know. So maybe for the celebrities themselves, it may not be as glamorous as they put it out there. But for us in the executive side, guys, it's a top experience. Do I feel responsible for protecting artists? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'd like to think this is why I got myself to the position I'm in, and the access and the network I have when it comes to artists specifically, because anyone who I've ever interacted with, I've always wanted to know the person behind the fame and the name, just by default. Even on my phone, it's very rare for you to find I've saved any artist with like their artist name. Like I'm like, what is the name your mother gave you in that hospital? That's the name I'm saving you as, you know. And this also applies even like to most of my DJ friends, etc. Because I want to know the human being behind the artistry. And I think that's just my need for a genuine human-to-human connection. Because I feel like once I can connect with you on that level, it's very easy for me to, you know, push you, be passionate about what you're putting out there, be committed to you as an artist, to be committed to whatever projects you onboard me on, because now there's some level of like a personal connection for me. Yeah, it's just, yeah, because they become family for me. So for sure, I take it very personally. I've been fighting people left, right, and center in groups, even on things that had nothing to do with me. But because you have mentioned a particular artist, I'm 10 toes down, unprovoked. But yeah, so I'm in it because for me, they've literally become family. What's my proudest moment and toughest lesson? So I did this really cool thing, 2019, was it 2020? Just when COVID started, we were all locked up. I mean, there's a lot of like different pride things, you know, like bringing Whiskey there for the first time, bringing Tiwa for the first time, bringing Timaya, Jidena, blah, blah. But this one particularly because Urban Tone had just come out, and for some reason, because we're all locked up and, you know, it was, you know, there was curfews, blah, blah. The Urban Tone artists at the time, I feel like they didn't get to experience the level of fame that they deserved in terms of getting shows, that level of recognition. So at the time I was already working with Alternate Sound, and I was doing management for them on this side. And so I told them, guys, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna send you guys a list of songs. I want you guys to do the live version of these songs, the way Alternate Sound does. For those who don't know, please go and search Alternate Sound on YouTube. And this one particularly, Gengetone, it was the Gengetone artist. It's called the Gengetone remix. Please go listen. And they did a Gengetone set for these artists. And once the mix was ready, we uploaded it and just started sharing it. And that mix changed the game for the artists, for Alternate Sound in this market, and even now just for myself as the executive behind putting this together. And that for me was a very, very pivotal point, because I feel like it 100% pioneered and influenced artists that were non-traditional in terms of, that who had not previously been able to, wanted to perform with bands, etc., etc. And it opened the door for that to happen. And people started rethinking that you don't have to only hire artists who you think already play instruments for live shows. You can get a band and an urban tone or Gengetone artist and or hip hop and still deliver same quality standard of a live show with an artist from that genre, from that scene. And so, yeah, that was major key. I mean, we're seeing the results now, to date. Muliona Juicy Toxic Lyrically was with an entire band on stage. That tells you everything you need to know. Toughest experience. My toughest lesson. Guy, they're like, there's so many. Toughest lesson, for sure, will have to be assuming that because I believe and I'm passionate about the artist, that by default, the market will respond the same way. And so I found myself having made promises in terms of what the outcomes would be based on, deliverables, etc. And when it didn't go that way, having to sit with an artist and give them feedback as to why it didn't go the way we had planned for it to go, made it that right now, you tell me, hey, I want to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And even as much as you may be willing to pay my fee, the first thing I say is, let me listen first, do like a quick little poll, and then I come like, my guy, this is not the track you want to release. Trust me. If you've got other projects, let me listen and advise on that, because I said I never want to find myself in a situation where I've made promises that I can't keep. Yeah, that was a very tough lesson. Very, very tough lesson, because you can literally see yourself, you breaking the artists and taking something away from them that they're never going to be able to get back. So I never want to be in that position ever again at all. Who holds the real power in this industry? Unfortunately, currently, it's those with money. But based on the work we're doing currently and what we're pushing for, we are returning that power back to the artists. We have seen it happen globally with people like Taylor Swift buying their entire catalogs back. Britney Spears just recently selling her entire catalog. We're taking that power back to the artists, guys. It has to go back to the creators themselves. Because if it's to the people with the money, the wrong people have the power. The very, very wrong people have the power. So yeah, tunarudishia wasanii and the rest of the creatives. It's coming back to you. It's coming back. If artists actually understood the business side of music, what would shock them the most? One, you're not that special. There is always going to be a better artist, better talent that's just undiscovered. So always work knowing somebody better could come along. So as you're going about today, your day-to-day, moments, work like you're already like compete with yourself. You did this today, please do 10 times better tomorrow, because there'll be somebody who will come and surpass you, and all work works. All work works. So just because you didn't see the result, you went and did a studio session with so and so, and there was other people in the room, but that song didn't really go anywhere, you guys didn't really close on the deal. Please don't assume that because that didn't happen, that was a waste of your time, because I can promise you, things and the universe has a way of bringing things back in the craziest way. Because you'll find yourself a year and a half from now or 2 years from now that somebody who was in that room that day had already been working on something, but they just weren't in that position at that time. Reaching out to you to be like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, 2 years ago we're in the studio with so and so. You guys are supposed to be doing a song. I was the one who was doing this, but now I'm involved with this. I want to bring you on board. All work works. As long as you're doing the work on a daily basis, all work works. It might not happen in that moment, but it will happen, I promise you. It will happen, and you will see the results of your labor one way or the other, for sure. How do I balance being a parent and a music executive? Guys, I really just started taking my kid everywhere. For real. Because there's this notion, that we had been fed for a very long time. And I'm just speaking as, as women. You can be a mom, you can be a great wife, you can be you can be a career person, you can have your me time. You can't have all those things simultaneously. I'm telling you that for free. One way or the other, something somewhere is suffering. As when you're committed to this, something is suffering on this other side. I can promise you that 100%. So what I wound up doing is, or rather what has worked for me, is I figured out how I'm putting all those things together. And so I've made it very obvious, even with clients who will call me. I'm like, hey, Sawa, this is an impromptu plan. You want me to come? No problem. My child right now is on school holiday. I'm at home with her. So I'm going to be coming with her. Obviously, I'm not saying that they're going to come and smash around, your office or anything of the sort, but I make it known and people are aware. Events, same thing. I now carry her along. Because there's not like, it's either she's at home by herself for 4 or 5 days because I'm out somewhere, or we're going together. And how it's worked out for me is, she's learning to see what it is it takes for mom to be able to buy candy, I don't know what clothes, to take me to do what. She's first hand seeing what that looks like in terms of work that her mother does. And then on top of that, it also helps me when I'm at work, especially. There's a sense of lack of panic and reduced stress I have because she's there. Because I'm not trying to have her see me wild out and lose my mind. So I really have learned a lot of patience, because now I have to take a second, process this crisis, and then deal with it from a level-headed playing field. Whereas if she wasn't there, I think I'd actually lose my shits a little bit, and everyone around me would be pretty scared. So I've just had to bring her on board and just make it a fun experience for all parties involved, and make it feel less like Dibeleta Mtoto Kazini and more like she's also like going to help us transport Majis to the backstage, wipe some of the VIP tables. Yeah, she's also put into work. So that's how I managed to do that. Guys, just as a parting shot from me to you, please just go and support these artists. Stop calling people for free tickets. Stop hustling people to sell you cheaper tickets. Please, just go and support your artists. Go stream when they put out a new project. Go for their showcases. Go for their concerts. If they've been booked by another event organizer and you can afford the ticket, please show up. Just show up. It's going to go such a long way, one, to justifying why these artists should be booked to begin with. It's going to add value to the artists themselves. It's going to inspire them. It's going to motivate them. And all that works in the greater ecosystem when it comes to building the Kenyan and the greater African music industry and creative space, because they all work together at the end of the day. You know what I mean? From fashion to the dancers to the artists themselves, it's all one massive ecosystem operating together. So just support, guys. Show up and support. Tafadhali. Yeah.